Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. We invite you to sign up for our newsletter to stay connected to all future programs.
All right. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I hope everybody likes veggie chili and sweet potato salad. If you have questions, you guys know the drill. Just shoot them up here at me and we'll dish them out, okay? We are making veggie chili, so any allergies, I know I asked a little earlier. I think we're good here today. I'm using dairy for the chili. I have some Greek yogurt. If you guys want that, it's optional on top of your chili. So ingredients today, we are making veggie chili. So we're using onions, cloves, bell pepper. I don't have green peppers. So again, we're not going to be specific on the recipe. They didn't have green bell peppers for some reason at the store. So the red peppers look great. I have a poblano. We'll take the heat out of that a little bit. Chili won't be, it won't be super spicy. So you should be good. We are using some beer. I have an amber ale here. Chili powder, cumin, usual. Cocoa powder is going to be there. These little additions like beer and cocoa powder, they're there to just help give more umami, right? Umami is that thing that's in your mouth that makes you crave, makes you want to eat more. It just adds a lot of character to the chili. Okay, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, black beans, and chickpeas. As with anything that we make here in this class, you guys know we can change things out. If you don't have beer, you don't like beer, don't add the beer. If you have questions about the beer, I'll be happy to answer that. Cocoa powder, optional again. Beans, if you have red beans, use red beans. It doesn't matter. All these things can be changed out. You like chili powder more than you like cumin, add more of it. It doesn't matter, right? You guys know that by now. When we make things, I'm not following these recipes to a T. So I encourage you guys to explore and do different things as well. And then the sweet potato salad. I took the liberty of pre-cooking the sweet potatoes just so we can get through it. Really simple. I chopped them. You guys can see them. About 1-inch dice. I tossed them in a bowl with a little olive oil, roasted them at 400 degrees. It took about 20 minutes to get that. Okay. With these, you can put salt, pepper. You can put different spices, whatever you want on them. Okay. And that's not on the recipe, but I encourage you guys to spice them up however you like. Again, we're making a little salad dressing to go with that. Apple cider vinegar, Dijon, grain mustard, honey, oil. We've done that before together. We're just going to massage that. I bought, instead of kale, I bought chopped collard greens. So we're going to mix chopped collard greens. They're raw, really good for you, just like kale. And we're going to use cranberries, apple. I do have scallions to go with the chili, so we'll throw that in there as well. I have pecans, red onion. And again, all those things. It can be raisins. It could be pears instead of apples. It can be whatever, any kind of nut, any kind of seed. So just take notes on there. You can change it up however you want, do what you want. That's what's great about these two recipes. You guys can flex with what you have in your pantry at home. Okay? All right. So let's make some chili. We're going to make the chili first, and then we'll go ahead and knock that salad out. Like everything we do, we'll start with a little oil. I have my pot going. And again, these recipes, the quantities I'm using are a little different on here. Just I'm basing it on how many people I have here in the class. Oil's heating. We're going to add our onion. Okay? Remember? Knife, thumb, forefinger. Onion. I start. Ooh, that knife is dull. We're going to split that onion right here through the root. I talk about the same thing every time, I know, but I don't know who's new in the class all the time, so I'm going to peel that onion.
Can I ask a question?
Question.
Is there something nutritionally wonderful about chickpeas?
Yeah, yeah. Like I said earlier, you can use any kind of bean: red bean, black bean, white beans. That's what's great about this chili. Whatever you have. I'm sorry you don't like chickpeas. We're using chickpeas, so maybe you can.
No, it's not a problem.
No, I get you. I think chickpeas probably they're so popular. I'm guessing they're a little higher than protein than probably some of the other beans. Yeah. So we're gonna dice that onion again 3 times that way, this way, and then this way. All right. Have our onion. How do you keep onions from burning your eyes? I try to refrigerate them, keep them cold. This one's kind of warm, so it is making me want to cry. Now that you said that. No, it's okay. I also breathe through my mouth when I'm dicing a lot of onions instead of I try to close off my nose. That seems to help me. But definitely when they're cold, that seems to help the most. All right.
So it's okay to keep onions refrigerated.
Yeah, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to refrigerate onions.
This was a conversation last year about onions.
Oh, did Kip say something else?
Said, remember, sharp. She said sharp.
Oh,
knife.
very good. Yes, sharp knife.
Had the perfect solution. Savannah, the dietitian who joined us, she threw out a myth. I don't know if anyone's tested it in the past week. We didn't debunk the myth, but she said she heard or learned that if you have a wet rag or like a bowl of water, that onions are attracted to water, which is why it goes to your eyes. So.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that was like a online myth that she'd read, so I don't know.
Okay.
I guess no one has tried it. I know I haven't.
That's been on TikTok and Instagram lately.
So that's probably
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And that's when Savannah threw it out. She was like, "I'm not saying this is a healing thing."
So Kip is right with the sharp knife, and I mean you should be using sharp knife anyway. But the deal with the sharp knife, the chemical properties in the onion is what makes you cry. So if you're using a dull knife, you're grinding through that onion, and you're just roughhousing it and releasing more of that chemical that's in there. That will definitely speed up the crying process. All right, we're gonna just go ahead and chop some garlic. So I peeled the garlic. I'm just gonna rough chop the garlic. If you got one of those little fancy garlic press things, those are cool to use here as well. I'm just gonna slice it. Food processors are great for garlic. The deal with this garlic, I didn't use a lot, so a lot of cleanup for if you got a little food processor, that's cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and cook these till the onions are translucent, which means they start to turn clear, and the garlic's cooking. Okay, I see that. Okay. All right, then we're going to add the peppers. Red peppers. I believe we've done these before. All I do is I pull that out like so I don't waste a lot. Get the seeds out of there. And then I'm just going to dice these up. We'll do the same with that poblano. If you want to use jalapenos, that's cool too. You guys like spice? Great. If you don't like spice, you can take out, like we did here, take out some of that membrane. A lot of the heat is trapped within that membrane. It's not really the flesh itself. It's the seeds and the membrane of the pepper is what's bringing the heat. Any questions? Everybody like veggie chili? I make it at home. Sometimes I will go out and buy the, like, I got kids, so they get kind of weird sometimes. And so I will buy sometimes I'll buy the Impossible meat or the Beyond Burger meat and use that in here. I would just incorporate it. Like, I would start adding that right now. The meats, there's nothing, it's not an animal, so it doesn't. What is Beyond Burger meat? It's a plant-based meat alternative. Maybe you've seen what Burger King has an Impossible Burger. That's what they're using. Yeah, soy base. Whoever said that, and a lot of other things too. So I think there's a lot of. I mean, there is controversy out there about, like, okay, it's made in a factory. There's probably how many ingredients are in Impossible Burger. Somebody could probably Google that right now. There's probably a lot of ingredients in there, which, then if you're caring about natural things and all that, it might, I don't know, deter you from wanting to use it. I don't particularly care for it, like, as in a burger. If you're just making a hamburger and using Impossible meat, it's not my favorite. When I use it in tacos or chili, it's not bad. Yep. Yeah, it's just brand name stuff. There's more and more of them out there now. Sorry, the oven's giving me a fit here. Okay, poblano. You can get these dried as well, and then just rehydrate them in water so they'll be like brown and red. Rehydrate them, cut them, take the seeds out. Same thing. They'll have more of a smoky flavor to them, like an adobo or chipotle or something like that. This is a fresh one. So what we're going to do, these aren't super spicy. Mm-hmm. I think so, yeah. So I'm just going to take the seeds out. Be mindful, if you are working with really hot peppers, you want to put gloves on, right? Always a good thing. I'm just going to go ahead and slice that up. I will take out that white piece there. I don't want to light anybody up. What I'm poblano. Yeah, they're going to be bigger. Like, that's a really small one. But yeah, if you're going to stuff them, you would get the larger ones. Yeah. And if you've eaten those, you can tell they're not that hot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, I like poblanos because they have good flavor. They're like serranos too. Serranos get a little spicier, but serrano, jalapeno, poblano, to me, there's a lot of good flavor in there. Yeah. Actually, in the summertime, I should have did it this past summer, next summer. I make a jalapeno salad dressing. We've made salad dressings here together a couple times. And I'll do the same thing. I'll take the jalapeno and I'll cut it in half, take the seeds out, take the membrane out. I'll throw it in a blender raw, right? And then make the salad like we make salad dressing, mustard, vinegar, oil, all that stuff. And it's a really good salad dressing. It has a lot of great flavor, and there's practically zero heat to it. But the jalapeno has a lot of nice flavor. Okay. Sorry, losing my voice. I'm not sick. So we're going to cook that for a couple minutes. Then we're going to add chili powder and cumin. We're going to cook that in. right? Then we're going to add our beer to deglaze everything. So at this point, if you're at home, you don't like the beer, you would add your spices, and then you would start adding your tomato product, whether it be your tomato puree. I bought 1 can of tomato puree, 1 can of tomato sauce, just regular Hunt's. 1 can of diced tomatoes. You can get those flavored with garlic, oregano as well. That's perfectly fine. You could add that. These are large cans, yeah. So if you follow the recipe with 15 ounce, that would be a good size for a family, like 4, 5, 6 people. I was feeding more, so I grabbed bigger cans of things. But if you follow the recipe, I didn't put that on there, I'm sorry. That'll feed probably 6 people, 6 to 8, okay? Smells good. Let's see, so we're using black beans, also chickpeas. So this is meatless. What I did was I took half of 1 can of chickpeas and I crushed them up. Actually, I just used my hands. If you got a masher, you can use that. You can use a food processor. It's just going to give more texture to the chili, make it more meaty, right? These are drained. Yeah. Now, that's 1 can drained that I crushed. The other can still has a liquid. I'm just going to throw that in there. Remember the chickpea liquid? Remember we played around with that? Anybody remember what that does? Aquafaba, yeah, there you go. So it'll help thicken up the chili a little bit too as it cooks. Very good. You did? So remember, you have to whip it first. Did you use a machine or a hand? And it didn't thicken up? I don't know. You did? Give it a second chance. Okay. So we're talking about salad dressing. Okay, so that ranch one. Yeah, I mean, you can use mayo in that, or sour cream, or yogurt. That's fine. Yeah, it's really nice. It is. I'm glad you made it. Okay, so cumin and chili powder. That's going to go next. Don't judge me. I'm not measuring. Yeah, so these are soft. Looking good. Smells nice. I could smell that poblano. I think it's a tablespoon of each. We're going a little bit more because we've pretty much doubled the recipe there. So we want to cook that in. Get those spices to bloom out. Remember? There we go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Oregano is good in here too, and I didn't include that. You may want to take a note. I like oregano in my chili. I don't know why I didn't make it on there. I'm a bad recipe writer. It's because Lauren's yelling at me wanting recipes, and I'm usually in a hurry. But I know you guys will forgive me, so we'll talk through it, and you guys can write in your notes. All right, so that smells great. Next is, so the spices are working. Now we're going to add cocoa powder and tomatoes. Yes. So I'll add the tomatoes first and then the cocoa powder. I know it says on here as well, stir until the chocolate melts. So if you don't have cocoa powder and you want to use dark chocolate, feel free to add the dark chocolate. Not now. You would want to wait until you have some liquid in there to add the dark chocolate. Okay? Does that make sense? We're going to add the beer. All right. There we go. Yep. Okay. Again, the beer is optional. Dark beer is great. There's so many beer varieties out there now. This is an amber ale. Okay. Now we can really get cooking. All right. Cocoa powder, tomatoes. We talked about the beans, the chickpeas. Any questions to this point? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Yingling or whatever, any kind of, yeah.
Probably add a little dark brown sugar to make up for the sweetness, that loss of sweetness.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you probably could. If it's I would not. So the question was, you can add some brown sugar. I would be careful and do that at the very end after you've tasted your chili to see if you really need it. We cook off some of that beer, and you're right, you can get some bitterness with some of the,
I'm not worried about bitterness, but dark beer adds a little sweetness.
like the maltiness, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cocoa powder, again, that's gonna add some nice umami. Okay. All right. Now we're gonna add our tomatoes. Juice and all, you don't have to drain them. Just put them right in there. Okay. I use 1 tomato sauce, 1 diced tomato. If it's too thick at the end, you can add a little water if you need to adjust it, or vegetable stock if you want to do that. Okay. Chickpeas. Okay, I'm gonna throw in the other chickpeas that I've crushed, and then my black beans. I didn't drain them. You can, if you want, you can rinse them.
When you add the cocoa powder, how do you said 4 ounces? Is that liquid ounces?
Just weight, yeah. Or you can measure in your measure cup. Should have a 4 ounce thing on it. You're going to be close either way that you go with it. Again, it doesn't have to be specific. This looks good. Hope you can see it. Okay, so we'll taste with salt and pepper. Once that gets to a simmer, we're going to let that cook and stew for a little while. Probably 10 minutes or so. It goes really fast. I suppose you could make it in a Instapot if you had one of those and you wanted to use that as well. That would probably work. Okay, so we'll finish with salt and pepper, a little oregano, and we should be good. Any questions on that? Green onions, yeah, it does look good. Smells good too. Okay. The salad. Like I said, I pre-cooked the sweet potatoes. I did not, as usual, I didn't peel the potatoes. I left the skin on. 400 degrees. 420, this says, for 30 minutes. That's about what I did here. Again, you can spice those up however you want. So this salad is pretty simple. There's so many, you can go so many different routes with this. But I think, so we're going to make the dressing. We're going to make the dressing first. We're going to add the kale. Then we'll add all the chopped vegetables and the potatoes. We'll mix everything together, and the salad's basically done in one bowl. So we're trying to be We don't want a lot to clean up, right? Yeah, that looks good. Okay, I'm gonna put gloves on because we're gonna serve this. Nothing's cooked. Any questions on the salad before we get started? Okay. All right. As always, we want mustard in our dress. Oh, the dressing. This can be any dressing, right? I chose apple cider vinegar. Just felt more seasonal to me. Again, as always, balsamic works. Red wine vinegar, if you have it. Sherry's nice. Whatever route you guys want to go with that. It doesn't have to be grain mustard. It can be just plain old Dijon mustard. We just want something that is going to break this kale or collard greens down and help make a nice little dressing, okay? So this one's easy. We're not going to do any kind of fancy emulsions. We're just going to mix it in the bowl. Keep it simple. That's the one I want right there. Okay. So I'm going to start with mustard, right? Grain and Dijon. Okay. Apple cider vinegar. Bragg, I like this brand. They make drinking vinegar too. Sometimes I get into that. To me, it's a good quality brand. Also has the starter in it. It's good. But again, any kind of apple cider. So they make one that is supposed to be good for your gut, and you can actually, yeah. It sure is. It's an old-fashioned remedy. Some people just take this vinegar, put it in some water. Too much of it can irritate your throat. But the one, in fact, I'd prefer to drink this rather than the drinking vinegar. But even if you go to the refrigerator section, I think now they have like refrigerated vinegar drinks that you can get. Yeah, I guess it's probably pretty trendy, but it's supposed to be good for your gut.
It's probably the American equivalent of kombucha.
Yeah, probably so. Okay. So we got our mustard, our vinegar. We're going to add our oil and our honey. Again, this doesn't have to be pretty. We're not striving for an emulsified vinaigrette because we're going to just kind of massage that kale into the bowl. And I'm eyeballing it, but if you follow the ingredients, you'll get a good vinaigrette ratio. Remember, you want a good balance between the oil and vinegar and the sweetness. Okay. We talked about olive oils before and vinaigrettes. I encourage you to get salad oil a lot of times for your vinaigrettes at home for your salads. I am using extra virgin olive oil here because that's what I'm looking for. I just want more of that olive oily kind of flavor to go with my sweet potatoes. I think it's a nice combination, but if I was making a regular salad dressing, again, don't buy expensive olive oil for that. For a tossed salad at home, just get regular vegetable oil and make your vinaigrette with that. But if I'm looking for more complexity in a salad, if I'm making something unique, I would use the extra virgin olive oil. Has more of the grassy notes. So we're gonna take our kale. I'm gonna do it this way. So that's, you guys see me there. You could use Swiss chard. Yeah, great question. With the greens, I chose collards. I wrote kale. I saw kale, but I felt like I've kaled you guys out. We've done a lot of kale in here, so I did buy collards. You know, sometimes you get them. These have some stems in them, which can be a little annoying sometimes. A lot of times you can get them without a lot of the stems. Either way, what we're going to do is we're going to take some of that dressing like that and just massage it down, right? You'll see it's going to shrink up a lot.
If you were making it for company, how far ahead could you do this?
That's a great question. So if you're making it for a company, I would make this salad, and this salad's going to be a little warm because the potatoes just came out of the oven. I would probably make it in the morning and serve it in the evening. You could probably even get away with a day. Any more than that, your kale or your collard greens might get a little soggy. Okay, more of that. If you want to make it, like if you have friends coming over, you want to keep everything separate and build salads on plates, you can keep these things separate. You don't have to mix them all together. That would work too. But you just want to really crush it with your hands and work that dressing into the leaves. You're just bruising the leaves, making them softer, easier to digest. Does that make sense? Swiss chard's a little easier to work with. So if you wanted to go with something a little lighter, you could do Swiss chard. If you wanted to do, you could even do regular lettuce, right? Arugula, you just wouldn't crunch it up as much. You would just pour the dressing over it, toss it, and then maybe put it down first and then mix all these other things together after that. Yeah, kale's pretty tough. I would definitely want to massage that. Okay? How do you judge how many greens? I was guessing last night. I didn't know how many people was going to show up today. Yep. It's up to you, like how much you want to. That's the thing with these recipes. I don't put specifics on there, like, okay, 2 cups. But if you want to eat more kale, add more kale. That's the beauty of it. I'm sorry, repeat that.
If you're serving a dozen people and you put out, and after 6 people have gone through 8 people, all the salad is gone. How do you
You're in trouble.
Yeah, how do you prevent that from happening?
You're going to have to overestimate in your recipe. Like if you're following a recipe and you feel uncomfortable with it, if you don't think my 2 cups is going to be enough to feed 6 people, you would probably want to use double that, right? There's a lot of bogus recipes out there, right? That's the problem. People that don't really test them, so they're putting anything out on the internet, and the quantities aren't right or things like that. That's why I would give you a list of websites to really trust that do a good job with finding recipes. That recipe is going to feed 6 people. You can trust me, Richard. You won't run out. Okay? I would with something like a salad for sure. Yeah, because it's going to hold up. You can keep it for the next day. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. And practice. The more times you make salads like that, and you can see that the kale really shrunk up. That was 2 bags of collards. So yeah, you're putting a lot more into it. Yeah, but again, I mean, it's a great question. You know, it's a great.
I have maybe an answer.
Go ahead.
Because I often have large groups for luncheons, and I take a very large bowl, 2 of them, and I dumped out none of the bags, whatever I'm using, and it varies by how delicate the lettuce is. And I just take a big handful, and I'm like, well, what would I eat? What would be a serving for me? And I do that, and then I take big handsful, and I count the handsful, and then I add 2 or 3 more for the bowl, and then I think about who's coming and how much I can fill, men or women, and adjust by that, and usually it works out, and always have some extra, you can always just go to the refrigerator, dump it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever it is you're serving, you're going to need more of some lettuces than you are others because they have more air,
Mm-hmm.
That's a denser lettuce, so you're not going to eat as much of that if you are, butter lettuce.
And you've learned that through experience.
I love this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trial and error.
Right.
Running now is not fun.
Yeah, no. There's also nothing.
Well, again, I think the more times you make the salads, you'll start understanding, the ratios and things like that. So there's the onion. We're going to add that. We're going to want to massage that onion in there as well. I know Kip has talked to you guys about red onions and how you want to take the bite out of them by adding your vinegars to them and things like that. So that's going to help with some of that raw oniony flavor. We like onions, but we also, I say we. I don't really enjoy eating raw onions, but I do if it has a lot of vinegar on it or has a dressing on it, and I like to cut them. I like to cut them pretty thin. Okay. Next, we're going to do our apples. So if you got an apple core, great. Core the apple, dice it up, no problem. I don't, so we're going to do that. It's apple season right now, so if you've never been to LJ to pick apples, you might want to check that out. It's pretty cool. Get a lot of nice apples. I'm going to leave these kind of chunky. Questions?
What's your favorite orchard in LJ?
Favorite orchard in LJ? It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite orchard in LJ. And I haven't been there in about 8 years because my kids are really busy on the weekends, so we don't get up there as a lot as we used to. What's your favorite orchard in LJ? Severe?
It's a
Bill?
really big one.
Uh-huh.
They have a lot of varieties. I don't pick. I just orchids.
Okay.
But they have a lot of different, I think that's what it's called.
Oh, there's another farm up on, it's up off of 285, and this time of year you can get like these apple cider donuts that are up there. I don't know if you guys yeah, I know, right? They're so good.
Where is that?
It's up 285. I'll think of it here in a minute. I'm drawing a blank. I will. Dried cranberries, raisins work. Whatever kind of dried fruit, dried cherries are really nice. They're a little more expensive, but I love them. We're gonna add those, and there's a lot. I'm a classic Honeycrisp. It's one of my favorites. Pink Lady is good. There's an Arkansas Black that's kind of nice. It's got a really dark skin. It's like a classic Red Delicious, but so much more flavor inside than Red Delicious, kind of bland. So These pecans, I'm just going to rough chop these up. What's your favorite apple? Wine sap. Yeah, I haven't seen those for a while. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's interesting talking about apple. I read this article recently about Red Delicious. So back in the day, Red Delicious apples were great. It was a great apple to eat, right? But then what happens is they start breeding all these apples and they just breed the goodness out of it. Like there's nothing left. And that's correct. So you talk about shipping them across the country. You're building them to, it's like a banana, right? They pick them when they're super green. They get here and then they ripen. But it's just like tomatoes as well. I think we talked about that over the summer. When they're picking tomatoes that are green or just not that ripe, they're growing them so they don't bruise, right? But this Red Delicious apple was, and I didn't really know because I've never really enjoyed it, but evidently back in the day, this was like the apple to have. And now the Pink Lady, or no, the Honeycrisp is good, but sometimes the Honeycrisp are like so big, you know. They're on sale at Whole Foods, yeah. Now the ones I bought were actually a good size to eat, but you know,
Do they lose their sweetness when they're much bigger?
I don't think so. To me, they don't. It's just a lot. It's just a lot of apple, right? Yeah, it's a lot of apple.
But they hold up well. I
Mm-hmm.
don't usually eat, but I have an apple for a snack, and I just put it in the refrigerator.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna mix. It was just a regular North Carolina sweet potato. Purple's fine. Yeah, purple's fine. The white, to me, white sweet potato is a little starchier, not as sweet. Purple is really nice. To me, the purple is sweeter. If you can find them, they're really good. This looks pretty good. Okay. I don't think my bowl is big enough, but we're going to give it a shot. There we go. We made it. Yep. Awesome. Okay. So at this point, you don't want to start crushing up your sweet potatoes because they're roasted. They've cooled off, so they're room temperature now. You can roast them and then refrigerate them if you want to do that. If you want your salad really cold, I mean this salad's pretty nice. It's room temperature. Okay, there's the salad. I don't need that. Any questions on that salad?
What kind of nuts did you use?
I use pecans. That's what we had in the freezer. Pecans are great. Almonds are great. Sunflower seeds are great. I was going to do that, but I was reminded by Lauren that we had pecans, so I didn't want to spend more money on something else. I try to be mindful of our budget, right? So that goes true for your house. If you have pecans, almonds, whatever you have, that's great. Seeds are good too. Pumpkin seeds could be cool as well. Yeah. Okay, so all we have left to do is taste the chili, and we hope that it's good. And we're probably going to have to season it with some salt. Awesome. Okay, we'll put in a little oregano. Okay. That would be about a tablespoon for your recipe. If
What kind of salt are you using?
kosher salt. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Salt is salt. You know, as far as like nutrition goes, it's all the same. Whatever. Now, salt is not salt when it comes to flavoring. Like there's pink salts, there's smoked sea salts, and things like that. I don't want to get into a tangent over salt, but a lot of those do have more flavor. But when it comes to like your heart health, It doesn't matter if you buy fancy sea salt that's smoked over charcoal for 24 hours, or you have iodized salt. It's all the same, right? To your body, it doesn't know.
There was an article in the New York Times a couple weeks ago about Diamond brand kosher salt that chefs use, and a lot of people you could get it during COVID, but not.
Yeah, it's the red box, right?
Where can you find it locally? Do you know?
I thought Publix had it.
Publix.
Yeah, she's talking about a particular brand, and it became famous. I think the Bear is a show that's on Hulu. People kept seeing this box of salt in the background. They're like, "What is that?" And then it started this whole TikTok, Instagram thing about diamond salt. I don't know. I mean,
Is there a difference? Do you think?
you know, the difference for a chef, the difference is the texture when you're grabbing salt. So like in the show, the Bear, right? Where are we at on time? I don't want to start. It's 12:59. Lauren's going to kick me out. So when he's cooking in a restaurant, they're cooking, they're feeling the salt, right, with their hands. So those different kosher salts have textures and feel, and then a chef gets used to feeling that they're not sitting there measuring like we are here. Well, I didn't measure, but if you're home, you're measuring your salt. They're not doing that, right? They're making the same dish over and over and over and over and over. So everything is by feel, and sometimes like the Diamond kosher salt, the textures are just, it just helps you. Yeah.
I think where they went with it, I was very interested. I like kosher salt. Only more.
Yeah.
I don't like the other ones.
So I'm with you on that. I'm the same way. I'm a Morton fan.
The crystals though are it's a little crunchy, a little sharp, a little larger. The diamond one is kind of a little bit smaller, and the crystals are
Softer.
they're softer, so it's not as crunchy. We're talking about if you throw it in a pot of chili, it doesn't matter. But if you are sprinkling it maybe on a salad or something like that, where your tongue will touch the actual crystal, it supposedly sort of softens the thing. I like Morton's kosher, and I'm happy to use it and anything else. Like, go to McDonald's and get a salt packet. It's so super fine that it turns any food into brine almost immediately. And
Yeah.
you can't taste the food, where if you have a couple crystals of kosher, it salts it, but salt isn't going to overwhelm your taste buds before you pick your
And to your point, that's why chefs aren't using iodized salt in the kitchen, because it's so fine. It's so easy to oversalt. When you're sautéing the same dish 200 times on a Saturday night, somebody's going to oversalt something. So you want consistency. So that's why you're going to go to a kosher salt, right? Because you can feel it's finer, or it has more texture to your hand. You're not measuring it. So an iodized salt, which even this one's a little fine, you wouldn't want that, because you're going to oversalt. It's like dealing with sugar, right? That's how fine iodized salt would be.
How does the Himalayan salt compare to the kosher salt? Or do you know? I don't know.
I do. I mean, truth be told, I buy all those different salts just to play around at home, because why not? Why not? Yeah. Yeah, there's minerals, like where they're coming from in the world. Like, there's volcanic salt from Hawaii. There's going to be different minerals in Hawaii than there are in the Himalayas, and just different things like that. They don't always come, like, you're not going to get pink salt that's coarse like he's talking about. Usually it's going to be finer as well.
So interesting.
Yeah,
Things I've never thought of.
we could do 30 minutes on salt here. Yeah.
The Bear used to say, cook with kosher salt and finish with fancy salt, because they're too expensive to cook with.
So that's the fancy salts are finishing salts.
Himalayan fancy.
Fancy, yeah, it sure is. Yeah.
Okay.
But she said she never used iodized salt unless you need the iodine.
Yeah, bakers are going to use more iodized salt with baking because they're being specific about their measurements and weights.
Isn't this so beautiful for y'all that have gotten some?
Tis the season, yeah. As I make this, corn would be a good addition to this soup as well. Yeah. Oh, I have yogurt too. Anybody not want yogurt on a chili? No yogurt. One? Okay.
Who does not want yogurt?
One lady in the back. I put it in the chili. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Whoa.
You're welcome.
You made this right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All
heard
day,
it.
all day.
Oh,
Thank you. You made it with us. Yeah. Thanks. Somebody was talking about grits a minute ago. You can add cornmeal to this as well. If you want a little thicker, when I added all that tomato product and the thing was simmering, you can add some grits or cornmeal in there, and that'll help give it a cornier flavor and also thicken it up a little bit for you. Raw. Yeah. Do we need more chili?
did everybody get chili?
Awesome.
I'll definitely do it.
Okay.
I bet toasted quinoa would be good in that too, or salad.
Sure it would be, yeah.
What would be?
Toasted quinoa.
Yeah.
What color quinoa do you
I'll discriminate. Anyone's fine. Yeah. It worked. We do varieties just for eye appeal. Black or red or white. Sometimes we'll mix them up. Sometimes you can buy them already blended, which is helpful. Tri-colored and such. Yeah. Any questions about the chili or anything? I'm glad you like it. Now, just remember from the recipe, I added oregano. So, yeah. Avocado is great with this, too. If you want some of that, you can throw that on top. I threw the green onions in. You can throw them on top if you want to make it. I would put it on top as you serve it, maybe on top of the yogurt or sour cream or whatever you want. I did. Mm-hmm. I would say probably a tablespoon. Same as you use for the chili powder.
Well, thank y'all for all coming today. Thank you, Chef Mike, for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Y'all take your time to eat and snack, but thank you for coming today. We appreciate having y'all here with us.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.